Today's podcast is brought to you by Quantrix Modeler Introductory Training, teaching the fundamental foundation that you need to become a Quantrix master. Go to quantrixauthority.com to learn more. Hey, welcome back to another netcast. I'm Rich Lopez, Quantrix Authority. Fantastic that you joined me today for episode number 194, because I'm going to show you a best practice on how to maintain a filter when running scenarios or analysis. I use this one frequently when I'm building my Quantrix models. Let me explain. I have here a basic forecast that has a list of parts going down here on the side, and I have a machine that these parts are assigned to, and then I have maybe a part type. And I have some sort of unit forecast associated with it. Well, I also have over here, I have what I call an allocation summary. And on this matrix, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to summarize how many units each one of these machines is producing, right? So in order to do that, I would simply go in and I would say units is equal to, and let me move my cursor there, sum of units over here using items as category, this machine as this category of machine. And what it does is it goes ahead and gives me these totals, okay? So if I were to go ahead and filter on Oak City, let me filter on selection, and if I were to go ahead and summarize sum that, I would see that indeed it is 215, 250, and that is the exact number that I'm getting up here. So it is matching. Well, what is the best practice? Let's pretend that I have to now move all of my product D's of Oak City, and I need to move them to, let's say, to the Henry line. Or maybe let's say to the Henry line. Okay, then what do? How do I get this to work? Well, you may be tempted to say, okay, go ahead and filter on D. So if I filter on selection, because I want to move all of these part D's to the Henry line, you may then be tempted to go in and say, well, I'm just going to overwrite this and write Henry. And if I do that, let's watch what happens to part 26. Okay, so if I write Henry here, bam, it's lost. Part 26 is gone. If I were to do it here on part 47, it disappears as well, and that's because I have this filter going on that's updating every time I make a change to my cell. So it's not sticking. So if I wanted to say undo that, because maybe I was saying, oh, that adds too many units to Henry or something like that, so I wanted to undo that, or I wanted to toggle several on or several off, or make several changes and revert or try different product mixes to get to a different number over here, I can't do that very easily by overriding them like I've shown you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo both of these, and I'm going to show you a better way that I use frequently when I'm doing this type of change or this type of scenario or data analysis within Quantrix. So what I would go ahead and do is I would actually add a couple columns here, okay? And I would call this one machine override, and then I would call this machine use, all right? And I would want to then constrain the input of this machine override by simply selecting constrain input, right click, select constrain input, make it a category and have it be machine, which is going to be here, and I'd click OK. And then what needs to happen is I would select Henry on all of these because this is product D and this is what I want to move from the Oak City line. And then on machine use, I would write a formula that simply says if machine override is equal to blank, then go ahead and use this machine. Otherwise, I want to use the machine override. And when I do that, you can see that I have Henry. Again, as a best practice, I think I mentioned in one of my podcasts, I would go ahead and make this blue. That way I know that it's an input cell. And you can see if I were to remove all my filters here, okay, you would see only product D has Henry. These others, I'm not overriding them, and therefore they're just copying over what is the original machine that I have listed. So anyway, back to Oak City, D, if I did filter on selection, then I did product D again, okay, on selection. Then what happens is you can see that I'm not updating any numbers, they're not changing yet. And that's because I need to point this units forecast to, or this units formula to the different column, and that would be on my using as, instead of using forecast machine, it would need to be forecast machine use, like this column right here. Okay, and when I do that, then I would expect my numbers to change. So again, if I were to delete these guys, I'm going to expect to see Henry decrease by about 10 grand or so. And indeed, that is what happened. Let's say I need to add a new machine, and then I wanted to take maybe part E, or a different part. So I'm going to remove the filter here, and let's say part C of Oak City, or part G rather, and let's say that part G needed to go to an entirely different product line, or a different machine. What I would do is I would add the machine, I'd call it Bowens here, and then from my drop down I would select Bowens, and as I'm doing that, you can see what's happening automatically is it is updating my allocation summary over here, and all the while I am maintaining my filter on Oak City part G, and all my products are staying here. That way, if I need to toggle them on and off, or maybe I have too many allocated now, so I do want to leave this one to Oak City, I could just simply go ahead and remove it, and it would update my numbers automatically. And again, this maintains my filters and really is a great way to perform some data analysis and override maybe some mappings or whatever the case may be that you have going on with your models. Anyway, I do hope that you find that useful. I hope that you'll reach out to me at quantrixauthority@gmail.com and ask me any question that you may have in regards to Quantrix. I want to make you a Quantrix master. Please also consider taking my introductory training available at quantrixauthority.com. It will provide the foundation that you need to become a Quantrix master. And please join me again for another episode of Quantrix Authority with Rich Lopez.